Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Set or determine the amount of a payment such as a fine. Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. Charge a person or a property with a payment, such as a tax or a fine. Estimate the value of property for taxation. Our house hasn't been assessed in years. Set or determine the amount of a payment such as a fine. Use to the limit. You are taxing my patience. Charge against a citizen's person or property or activity for the support of government. Levy a tax on. The state taxes alcohol heavily. Make a charge against or accuse. They taxed him failure to appear in court. Consider in a comprehensive way. He appraised the situation carefully before acting. Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. I will have the family jewels appraised by a professional. Form a critical opinion of. How do you evaluate this grant proposal? Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. A statute in draft before it becomes law. How much there is or how many there are of something that you can quantify. A basis for comparison. A reference point against which other things can be evaluated. They set the measure for all subsequent work. Any maneuver made as part of progress toward a goal. The situation called for strong measures. Determine the measurements of something or somebody, take measurements of. The act or process of assigning numbers to phenomena according to a rule. The measurements were carefully done. Express as a number or measure or quantity. Prosody. The accent in a metrical foot of verse. Measuring instrument having a sequence of marks at regular intervals. Used as a reference in making measurements. Musical notation for a repeating pattern of musical beats. Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. A container of some standard capacity that is used to obtain fixed amounts of a substance. Have certain dimensions. This table surfaces measures 20 inches by 36 inches. Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. Regard highly. Think much of. Music. The relative duration of a musical note. Hold dear. Estimate the value of. The amount, of money or goods or services, that is considered to be a fair equivalent for something else. He tried to estimate the value of the produce at normal prices. Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. An ideal accepted by some individual or group. He has old-fashioned values. A numerical quantity measured or assigned or computed. The value assigned was 16 milliseconds. Fix or determine the value of. Assign a value to. Value the jewelry and artwork in the estate. Relative darkness or lightness of a color. I establish the colors and principal values by organizing the painting into 3 values: dark, medium and light. The quality, positive or negative, that renders something desirable or valuable. The Shakespearean Shylock is of dubious value in the modern world. Decide upon or fix definitely. Reach, make, or come to a decision about something. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Establish after a calculation, investigation, experiment, survey, or study. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Experience often determines ability. Fix conclusively or authoritatively. Settle conclusively. Come to terms. Fix in scope. Fix the boundaries of. The tree determines the border of the property. An unofficial association of people or groups. The smart set goes there. Get ready for a particular purpose or event. Set up an experiment. Several exercises intended to be done in series. He did 4 sets of the incline bench press. Representation consisting of the scenery and other properties used to identify the location of a dramatic production. The sets were meticulously authentic. A relatively permanent inclination to react in a particular way. The set of his mind was obvious. Disappear beyond the horizon. The sun sets early these days. Decide upon or fix definitely. Put or set, seeds, seedlings, or plants, into the ground. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Set a record. Urge to attack someone. Set down according to a plan. A carefully laid table with places set for 4 people. Usually followed by to, or for, on the point of or strongly disposed. We are set to go at any time. Converted to solid form, as concrete. Make ready or suitable or equip in advance for a particular purpose or for some use, event, etc. Determined or decided upon as by an authority. The time set for the launching. Equip with sails or masts. Insert a nail or screw below the surface, as into a countersink. Locate. The film is set in Africa. Fixed and unmoving. With eyes set in a fixed glassy stare. Put into a certain place or abstract location. Adapt for performance in a different way. Set this poem to music. Psychology, being temporarily ready to respond in a particular way. The subject set led them to solve problems the familiar way and to overlook the simpler solution. Become gelatinous. Situated in a particular spot or position. A house set on a hilltop. Fix conclusively or authoritatively. Set the rules. Evil Egyptian god with the head of a beast that has high square ears and a long snout, brother and murderer of Osiris. Arrange attractively. Alter or regulate so as to achieve accuracy or conform to a standard. Estimate. The process of becoming hard or solid by cooling or drying or crystallization. He tested the set of the glue. Bear fruit. Set in type. My book will be typeset nicely. A group of things of the same kind that belong together and are so used. A set of books. Any electronic equipment that receives or transmits radio or TV signals. The early sets ran on storage batteries. Apply or start. Set fire to a building. A unit of play in tennis or squash. They played 2 sets of tennis after dinner. Being below the horizon. The moon is set. Fix in a border. The goldsmith set the diamond. Give a fine, sharp edge to a knife or razor. Mathematics, an abstract collection of numbers or symbols. The set of prime numbers is infinite. Put into a certain state. Cause to be in a certain state. Set the house afire. Put into a position that will restore a normal state. Set a broken bone. Set to a certain position or cause to operate correctly. Set clocks or instruments. The act of putting something in position. He gave a final set to his hat. The descent of a heavenly body below the horizon. Before the set of sun. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. Pronounce judgment on. Form a critical opinion of. I cannot judge some works of modern art. An authority who is able to estimate worth or quality. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. The judge tried both father and son in separate trials. A public official authorized to decide questions brought before a court of justice. Determine the result of a competition. Form a critical opinion of. We shouldn't pass judgment on other people. Criminal law. A pleading describing some wrong or offense. He was arrested on a charge of larceny. Move quickly and violently. A quantity of explosive to be set off at one time. This cartridge has a powder charge of 50 grains. The quantity of unbalanced electricity in a body, either positive or negative, and construed as an excess or deficiency of electrons. The battery needed a fresh charge. Cause to be agitated, excited, or roused. The speaker charged up the crowd with his inflammatory remarks. Psychoanalysis. The libidinal energy invested in some idea or person or object. Freud thought of cathexis as a psychic analog of an electrical charge. Demand payment. Will I get charged for this service? Direct into a position for use. He charged his weapon at me. Blame for. Make a claim of wrongdoing or misbehavior against. He charged the director with indifference. Request for payment of a debt. They submitted their charges at the end of each month. Cause to be admitted. Of persons to an institution. File a formal charge against. The suspect was charged with murdering his wife. To make a rush at or sudden attack upon, as in battle. Give over to another for care or safekeeping. Provide, a device, with something necessary. Attention and management implying responsibility for safety. A special assignment that is given to a person or group. His charge was deliver a message. Heraldry consisting of a design or image depicted on a shield. A formal statement of a command or injunction to do something. The judge's charge to the jury. Attribute responsibility to. The tragedy was charged to her inexperience. An assertion that someone is guilty of a fault or offense. The newspaper published charges that Jones was guilty of drunken driving. The swift release of a store of effective force. Impose a task upon, assign a responsibility to. He charged her with cleaning up all the files over the weekend. Assign a duty, responsibility or obligation to. She was charged with supervising the creation of a concordance. An impetuous rush toward someone or something. The wrestler's charge carried him past his adversary. A person committed to your care. The teacher led her charges across the street. Cause formation of a net electrical charge in or on. Charge a conductor. Energize a battery by passing a current through it in the direction opposite to discharge. I need to charge my car battery. Enter a certain amount as a charge. He charged me $15. Fill or load to capacity. Charge the wagon with hay. Financial liabilities, such as a tax. The charges against the estate. Instruct a jury about the law, its application, and the weighing of evidence. Instruct or command with authority. The teacher charged the children to memorize the poem. Lie down on command, of hunting dogs. Make an accusatory claim. The defense attorney charged that the jurors were biased. Pay with a credit card. Pay with plastic money. Postpone payment by recording a purchase as a debt. Will you pay cash or charge the purchase? Place a heraldic bearing on. Charge all weapons, shields, and banners. Saturate. The room was charged with tension and anxiety. Set or ask for a certain price. How much do you charge for lunch? The price charged for some article or service. The admission charge. A statute in draft before it becomes law. They held a public hearing on the bill. Publicize or announce by placards. A piece of paper money, especially one issued by a central bank. An itemized statement of money owed for goods shipped or services rendered. He paid his bill and left. A sign posted in a public place as an advertisement. Demand payment. We were billed for 4 nights in the hotel, although we stayed only 3 nights. Horny projecting mouth of a bird. An advertisement, usually printed on a page or in a leaflet, intended for wide distribution. A brim that projects to the front to shade the eyes. He pulled down the bill of his cap and trudged ahead. A cutting tool with a sharp edge. He used a bill to prune branches off of the tree. Advertise especially by posters or placards. He was billed as the greatest tenor since Caruso. A list of particulars, as a playbill or bill of fare. The entertainment offered at a public presentation. Judged to be probable. An approximate calculation of quantity or degree or worth. An estimate of what it would cost. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. I estimate this chicken to weigh 3 pounds. A judgment of the qualities of something or somebody. Many factors are involved in any estimate of human life. The respect with which a person is held. A document appraising the value of something, as for insurance or taxation. A statement indicating the likely cost of some job. He got an estimate from the car repair shop. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. Be close or similar. Her results approximate my own. Located close together. Approximate leaves grow together but are not united. Very close in resemblance. Sketched in an approximate likeness. Not quite exact or correct. The approximate time was 10 o'clock. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. A measuring instrument for measuring and indicating a quantity such as the thickness of wire or the amount of rain, etc. Accepted or approved instance or example of a quantity or quality against which others are judged or measured or compared. Diameter of a tube or gun barrel. Adapt to a specified measurement. Gauge the instruments. Determine the capacity, volume, or contents of by measurement and calculation. Gauge the wine barrels. Measure precisely and against a standard. The wire is gauged. Mix in specific proportions. Gauge plaster. Rub to a uniform size. Gauge bricks. The distance between the rails of a railway or between the wheels of a train. The thickness of wire. An estimate based on little or no information. Guess correctly. Solve by guessing. He guessed the right number of beans in the jar and won the prize. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. Expect, believe, or suppose. I guess she is angry at me for standing her up. A message expressing an opinion based on incomplete evidence. Put forward, of a guess, in spite of possible refutation. I am guessing that the price of real estate will rise again. Assign a rank or rating to. Assign a grade or rank to, according to one's evaluation. Grade tests. The height of the ground on which something stands. The base of the tower was below grade. A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. Grade a milk. A degree of oblaut. A body of students who are taught together. 1/100th of a right angle. A relative position or degree of value in a graded group. Lumber of the highest grade. A position on a scale of intensity or amount or quality. A moderate grade of intelligence. A variety of cattle produced by crossbreeding with a superior breed. Determine the grade of or assign a grade to. Level to the right gradient. The gradient of a slope or road or other surface. The road had a steep grade. Cause to conform to standard or norm. Evaluate by comparing with a standard. Cause to conform to standard or norm. The weights and measures were standardized. Evaluate by comparing with a standard. Forbid the public distribution of a movie or a newspaper. A person who is authorized to read publications or correspondence or to watch theatrical performances and suppress in whole or in part anything considered obscene or politically unacceptable. Someone who censures or condemns. Subject to political, religious, or moral censorship. This magazine is censored by the government. Celebrate by some ceremony or observation. The citizens mark the anniversary of the revolution with a march and a parade. Insert punctuation marks into. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Assign a grade or rank to, according to one's evaluation. Mark homework. Remove from a list. A symbol of disgrace or infamy. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain. A visible indication made on a surface. Some previous reader had covered the pages with dozens of marks. A person who is gullible and easy to take advantage of. A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. She made good marks in algebra. A perceptible indication of something not immediately apparent, as a visible clue that something has happened. Something that exactly succeeds in achieving its goal. Hit the mark. An indication of damage. Formerly the basic unit of money in Germany. A distinguishing symbol. The owner's mark was on all the sheep. Apostle and companion of St. Peter, assumed to be the author of the second gospel. To accuse or condemn or openly or formally or brand as disgraceful. A marking that consists of lines that cross each other. Make small marks into the surface of. A reference point to shoot at. His arrow hit the mark. The shortest of the four Gospels in the New Testament. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Mark off the units. Be a distinctive feature, attribute, or trait, sometimes in a very positive sense. Attach a tag or label to. Notice or perceive. Mark my words. Mark with a scar. Make underscoring marks. A written or printed symbol, as for punctuation. His answer was just a punctuation mark. Designate as if by a mark. This sign marks the border. Make or leave a mark on. The scouts marked the trail. The impression created by doing something unusual or extraordinary that people notice and remember. It was in London that he made his mark. An expression of approval and commendation. He always appreciated praise for his work. Express approval of. The parents praised their children for their academic performance. Offering words of homage as an act of worship. They sang a hymn of praise to God. Assign a rank or rating to. The restaurant is rated highly in the food guide. The relative speed of progress or change. He works at a great rate. Amount of a charge or payment relative to some basis. A 10-minute phone call at that rate would cost $5. Estimate the value of. How would you rate his chances to become president? A magnitude or frequency relative to a time unit. They traveled at a rate of 55 miles per hour. A quantity or amount or measure considered as a proportion of another quantity or amount or measure. The literacy rate. Be worthy of or have a certain rating. This bond rates highly. Revise or renew one's assessment. Revise or renew one's assessment. A written form of a musical composition. Parts for different instruments appear on separate staves on large pages. He studied the score of the sonata. A resentment strong enough to justify retaliation. Settling a score. A slight surface cut, especially a notch that is made to keep a tally. Gain points in a game. The home team scored many times. Assign a grade or rankta, according to one's evaluation. Score the SAT essays. Grounds. He tried to blame the victim, but his success on that score was doubtful. Induce to have sex. Did you score last night? A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. What was your score on your homework? Make small marks into the surface of. Score the clay before firing it. A seduction culminating in sexual intercourse. Calling his seduction of the girl a score was a typical example of male slang. Make underscoring marks. An amount due, as at a restaurant or bar. Add it to my score and I'll settle later. A number that expresses the accomplishment of a team or an individual in a game or contest. The score was 7-0. A set of 20 members. A score were sent out but only one returned. Get a certain number or letter indicating quality or performance. She scored high on the SAT. The act of scoring in a game or sport. The winning score came with less than a minute left to play. The facts about an actual situation. He didn't know the score. Write a musical score for.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.